Okay, this is the review of Ucanic bi-directional OBD scanner on 2008 Mercedes GL320 CDi diesel. I'm not part of Ucanic or anything. I just rented the damn thing for 85 bucks in sheer desperation because my iCarSoft MB2 was just acting up. It was just cycling on and off. The moment I would hit the scan module, it would just cycle off, and every time I would have to connect it to a Windows computer, reflash the software, and then it would work for a while, and then it would do the same thing again. So I needed something more reliable, and I had some issues that I needed to address, so I went ahead and rented this for 85 bucks for 5 days, and it's by far the best thing I've ever used. No wonder MB Medic is highly recommending it. So here it is. You click on it, does all the manufacturers represented, a whole bunch of Chinese brands, European, American, everything. I connected it to my 2004 F250 Power Stroke, and it reads so many things and tests individual components and everything, and it was just great. So here we go. Do the VIN automatic read. And it's flashing diagnostics on the radio, loading data, and here we go. It identified it. And then just for the hell of it, you can do a quick scan or you can do individual modules. Let's go quick. And it's not so quick because it actually goes through a whole bunch of modules. Interesting. What is it doing on my transmission? Oh yeah, I just did the transmission service and added oil and everything, so new oil is probably having a number on it. And then I'm aware of the ESP fault already. It's reporting a low voltage on it, so I'll deal with that. And with the transmission service, I just need to initiate readaptation on the transmission. And I already tried doing that with this scanner, and it does not have that ability for this particular vehicle, for this particular year. So I just initiated with ignition on and pressing the gas pedal all the way to the floor to engage the kick down switch, and then you shut the engine off or ignition off with your foot still in it, and then after ignition is off, you release your foot, and then you sit in a vehicle for about, I don't know, people say 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever. You just sit in it without opening the doors, because if you open the doors, then it shuts everything off. So that's how you do the readaptation on the transmission after you do the service with new filter and oil. So here we go. It's scanning the whole thing. It takes quite a bit actually time, but it's going through a whole bunch of units. He's just doing his job. I'm doing it specifically for this car. I also did it for a 2004 Power Stroke, because people always wonder for a specific vehicle, what does it specifically do for my car? And it varies from vehicle to vehicle, but so far on an old 2004 Power Stroke and 2008 Mercedes, I mean, they cannot get any more different than they have between them, and this thing is phenomenal. I'm actually so blown away that this is the last time I'm renting this unit, because this is a wired unit that connects with the cable down to OBD, and I'm also charging it because I used the crap out of it this morning and drained it all the way down, the internal battery. So I'm charging it as we're doing this. But this unit is a winner to the point where I will be spending $550 in getting the Bluetooth wireless dongle version with boroscope camera included. It's worth every penny. mean, don't get me wrong, it's no entry system, but for 99% of the people, it will take care of their needs. Okay? It's going through diagnostics on a radio, a CD changer, voice controls, TV tuner. Takes it a while. But I think it's important to show what it can do on each specific vehicle, and I hope more people that rent this unit do the same video so it shows what does it do for their specific vehicle brand and model, because I think this unit is really good and it deserves the praise. And for Ucanic to offer the rental service for $85, it's worth every penny. But if you're tinkering with cars all the time, or you have used cars and 0 monthly payments on cars, it's worth investing in this unit. So we're at 83%. Yeah, navigation unit fault because it doesn't read the CDs anymore or DVDs. Typical fault for this head unit. It just stops reading the CD because head gets dirty and all that. I tried cleaning it, didn't help. Not that I'm gonna ever use the navigation on it because it's ancient and outdated. My number one priority is drivability and reliability of this car for driving. Navigation is practically useless with new smartphones that constantly get updated. This car stuff from almost 2 decades ago is a joke. So here we go. At the end, it gives you a little report. So at this point, you can save, you can do the report. 43 systems found, and then fault on the transmission and ESP, and I believe navigation. Yeah, navigation. I'm sorry if it keeps getting blurry. I'll keep resetting the phone. So go back, and then you can save or you can erase. Well, at this point, I'm going to erase. Yes. So it's clearing. ESP is not going to clear because it's reporting low voltage. I need to investigate why is it receiving the low voltage. I don't know if somebody put the smaller fuse or something like that. So here we go. Transmission is clear, everything is clear. Okay, let's go back. Up on top, it always gives you the status of your battery, and if you're scanning and doing lots of cranking starts and stuff like that, testing, you might as well hook up the car to a decent charger so you don't kill the battery in a car. So here we go. Let's go to units and settings. This is where you can set up everything, and if you prefer metric or standards. And under general, no, where is it? System settings. If you go under system settings, it's got, because it's based on Android, it's got network and Wi-Fi. So you can go ahead and it says Wi-Fi not connected, but you can actually enable it, and it will search for the network, and you can do the hotspot from your phone or your Wi-Fi in your house. And when it pops up the code, you click on the code and it will go on to Google search and practically tells you what the fault is about. So it's very much worth connecting to Wi-Fi. Also, one thing that I found out handy is if you get one of those touchscreen pens. When you're working in rubber gloves or any kind of gloves, and they're all dirty from working on a car and under the car and engine compartment, using a touch pen greatly increases accuracy and speed of everything, and it's totally worth getting. Just any kind of generic pen, touch pen. So okay, let's go back and home. Okay, let's go into individual modules, because that's what people are interested in. What does it read? So here we go. You have ECU information, and it gives you to specific model, software versions, all that. Go back, read codes, system found no codes, and then you have live data. So for live data, it's practically all the starts. Start the engine. Let's do that. Engine's off. Start. Starter does not rotate. This is if you're having a problem, you're trying to start, but the starter will not come on. And then the secondary option is starter is spinning, but your vehicle is not starting. So this is where it gets really cool. I'm gonna turn the ignition on so the values pop up, but I'm not gonna start the car. So when you come here, you have reference, and then you have the value, and you're just checking it out. So it will give you comparison of where it needs to be. And in this car, of course, the Y94 good control valve, proportion valve for the fuel and things like that, that's what you're looking for. So they're better, even better tests. So that's for the starting. Then you have test engine at cold start. Again, pops the values, engine is now warm, so there's no point in there. It's expecting that temperature is less than 68 degrees Fahrenheit for the cold start comparison. But you have rail pressure, and now the ignition is on, so it's reporting the electric fuel pump pressure, and it should be about 60 psi, but you can see it's popping up to 80 something, 87, because the pump is pumping, and then it's cycling and reversing the flow, sending the flow back to the pump, to the tank. And so it's working great. So here there's no point in starting it now, it's warm, but let's go to a warm start test. Test engine in warming up phase. So it's already warm, but it gives you again references, rail pressure, current injected quantity. Well, this is now with the electric motor, electric pump running only. I'm gonna start the car, and as you can see, the values normalize. And if you see, the accelerator pedal is all zeroed out, but if I'm start flooring it, it reacts. Rail pressure at idle is about 3700 psi, and everything else looks good. Temperatures, of course, they're all much higher than warm start, but this is now really warm. Test engine at idle speed. There we go. Transmission neutral. Pressure for the control valve. There's a lot of repetitive information, but specific to your own circumstances. Is the engine cold, warm, or what? So that, and you can record. You have an option to record and save. You can recall history, so it's really cool. Check boost pressure controls. This is really cool. If you're having an issue or suspecting the exhaust back pressure sensor, which can typically fail with soot and everything, so this is really cool because it gives you all three sensors side by side, so you can look it up. So the exhaust back pressure, you got to understand, it's also taking into account 14.5 barometric pressure, which is a standard atmospheric pressure. So you basically subtract the value from the exhaust back pressure and you get the actual back pressure. So right now it's barely a pound, I mean a PSI. So charge pressure positioner, his percentage is off. I don't know why it's not reading it, maybe not applicable. And then you have diesel particulate filter differential pressure. This is the result of the differential pressure sensor that is right at the end of the transmission yoke, just by the drive shaft, and the two vacuum lines go to it, and one is giving the pressure from in front of the particulate filter and one from the back of the particulate filter. And if your unit is plugged up, then that difference, you know, goes higher, and at some point, I don't know what is the prescribed value, but when it gets to a certain point where it's getting plugged up for the system, the vehicle initiates a regeneration for the particulate filter, basically makes it run richer and hotter to burn it off. And on the vehicles with the DEF, of course, then it injects more DEF. So that's that. Check high pressure controls. Again, more of the same, some new values, some old values. It really depends on what exactly your issue is and what you're looking. Exhaust exhaust gas recirculation, basically EGR. It's got coolant temperature, EGR value. I don't know why is EGR not engaging. Maybe it's too hot or too cold, whatever the engine, but I know it's operating fine because there's no codes, and I know it's working fine. Again, the boosts again. So back, diesel particulate filter, here we go. The ash content, load state of the filter, so it, you know, it gives you the value. I don't know from what number to what number is normal value, but here we go. Exhaust back pressure, the coolant temperature, temperature upstream of the particulate filter, downstream, it's all there, and then whatever it's applicable to the particular vehicle at a time. Exhaust flow volume rate and flow resistance have the same value. I don't know why, because that's how it's programmed. And then engine speed in RPMs. And then preconditions, purge control, diesel particulate filter. Just gives you yes or no. So these are all good and satisfied as the conditions. Everything is in a specified range. Fault purge control, diesel particulate filter. And this is where you want all of them to be no. And as a result, and they are no. These are all bad, and they're all statements are bad, and you want no as a positive result. So all checks out. And then you have check drive authorization. And now the engine is running. So this is, you do this with just the ignition on without engine running. And at that point you start getting all yes, 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 or no, no, no. This one, for example, it's supposed to be no, and it's typically no if everything is okay. I don't want to keep starting the car back and forth. So that is on engine ECU. And then you have active tests. You can do fuel pump, charge pressure positioner, and when each time, you know, it tells you if you need to have the ignition on or what particular action you need to do, and you can hear the clicking of the solenoids and it starts. Another thing is the test of compression. This being a diesel, 500 psi of pressure in each cylinder, you do not pull the glow plugs to do the compression check. You do the virtual compression check, which is done by starter revolutions, and it's checking it. I'm just going to actuate it and see if it's tells me what it was. But okay, switch off engine. Basically, it tells you once you I'm trying to exit. Okay, switch engine off. Okay, and then when you're in this state, you start cranking, and these pluses start turning into the little arrows, and it tells you basically to keep cranking until it gets at the end. And you need to have, of course, fuel pressure, fuel relay or fuse pulled out so you don't start. And you're just cranking until the end, and it gives you the revolutions. And you're supposed to be within 7 revolutions difference between the cylinders. And I was within 1 RPM difference, so it's perfect. You can test glow plugs and a glow plug system, actuation of gas EGR, and then checking O2 sensors, transmission oil cooler circulation pump, and engine AC fan. I mean, you can test everything. I was playing with this, and let's see what it tells me. This is for the fans and AC. Some of them take a little bit longer, some will take a little bit shorter to actuate. I really don't want to go through the whole thing because the video is going to be way too long. But here you go. Test prerequisite, coolant needs to be below 80 degrees Celsius. Charge connected. Yeah, of course you want to have charger connected if so you don't want your battery to drop below 12.5. Ignition on, engine not running, vehicle stationary, the fuses are okay. Temperature too high. I mean, see, and then you do next. Now, let's see what it does. Might be too hot for it already. Come on. Oh, temperature is too high. That's why I won't initiate the test. So it's dump. It's really dump proof. It tells you exactly what conditions you need to have in order to do the test. Come on, get out. Oh, no communication because I shut the ignition off. There we go. That's why it stopped working. Back. There we go. Oh, it just had the fan on. Hang on. Let's try again. Oh, there we go. By pushing the buttons on the bottom, you can actually change the speed of the fan. I really don't want to mess with it. I played with the same buttons for aromatic adjustment. We'll get to that shortly. So anyway, let's get out of here. So those are the ECU active tests for the engine ECU. Okay, and then we go to the transmission. You have ECU information, the serial number, the whole 9 yards. Read codes, there is no codes. And then we go to live data. So live data is really cool on the transmission too. You have the speeds. Let me start the car. There we go. So it gives you the slippage, the shaft output speed, the turbine speed. We're stationary, so there will be no output speed. Actual gear, target gear. Got a whole shebang. Let's get out of here. Shift programs. So this is when you're testing if your transmission is shifting. And it's got transmission oil temperature, which is cool for doing the oil service on a transmission, where you need to have your transmission warmed up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 Celsius in order to do the drain spigot thing on the bottom of the transmission to properly refill it. So it's got all the stuff, and then if you're in a limp mode, this is emergency running, it will tell you. And then also if you're on an incline. And then we have gear change. Again, more of the same. It just displays some stuff repetitively, some stuff is new. Request neutral gear. Yes, we're in neutral. Torque at idle. And then you start actuating the transmission and shifting and everything, and then you figure out, if there is a delay or if you're commanding something and an engine or transmission is not actually doing it, and then you go from there. Torque converter lockup. That's the info for torque converter lockup. Again, it really depends on what you're looking for, what problem are you having. Emergency running. It gives you current fault codes. Is it an emergency running or not? And of course, always battery voltage. And that's another thing with the sensors, it always gives you the values for the sensors as well as voltages at each sensor. So you're not just looking for PSI or vacuum numbers, or it also gives you the actual voltage at the sensor. And then drive authorizations. Again, engine is running. This is done with the ignition on, engine off, and then it displays everything is okay. And now we're running, so we can do it. Start operation. Actual gear, target gear, starter enable, battery voltage, all the good stuff. So that is the functions on live data. And then we have, of course, the ESP that I have a code on. I'm losing voltage somewhere. So here we go, read codes. It's going to show that code. And here is the good example. Shoot, I don't know if I'm connected. I don't think I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Too bad. But you click on the numbers of the code, and it goes into the Google search, and it displays exactly the answer. Ain't no internet because I did not host a hotspot. I should have done it. You guys would have seen the result. But that's how it goes and looks. That's why it's so nice that it's got a Wi-Fi ability, and you either do a hotspot with your phone or you're in front of your house and they just connect to your home Wi-Fi. So that is really, really cool. Let me try erasing. I don't think it's gonna erase it because, like I said, yeah, when you clear the code, sometimes it asks you to turn the engine off and pull the key out of the ignition for 10 seconds before restarting. So, system pass, no fault found. Good. Okay. Live data. Voltage supply to the circuit 87. And that's why it's telling me low voltage, yet I have voltage. Could just be down to a ground wire somewhere, or too much resistance for the ground. So here we go. Parking brake switch on, brake wear indicator present. Stop lamp is off. Let me step on the brake. I'm stepping on the brake. Here it comes on. It says on for stop lamp. I release, and it goes back to off. So RPM sensors. This is for your wheel sensors. We're stationary, so we're not moving. And I have not tested it 255 miles an hour yet. Okay, we were already there. I just wasn't sure. ESP sensors. Here we go. Steering angle, lateral acceleration, longitudinal acceleration. So all the sensors it's using to calculate the yaw and for ESP before the vehicle intervenes. Speedtronic. That's for your cruise control, so it's not operated. Of course, once you for a lot of these, you really need to be having a driver and then a passenger checking these values. You can't drive and scan and look. So that is for active tests. What do we have? ESP stability program. I haven't gone through the test yet. Test procedure: engine running, do not operate the brake, the vehicle is stationary. Okay, we're satisfying all the conditions. Let's see what it does. Next, slowly operate the brake pedal. So I'm pressing the brake pedal, and you're gonna see the force is increasing, and it goes up to 25. There we go. And then you release. It says operate slowly. Goes back to 4. I do it again. $25, $24. Okay, and it keeps going this back and forth, back and forth. I already done it, and it was passing. So let me get out of here. Okay. The next, these airbags. Let's not deploy them if we don't have to. That's just a joke. Codes, no codes. Okay, let's do live data and see what tests does it have, because that's what it's about. Oops. I just zoomed inadvertently. Sorry guys. Screwed up. Okay, so let's see. Come on, it's throwing me zoom options and stuff. I don't want to zoom, I want to focus so you guys can read what it says. Come on, no. Okay, I hope you can see this. Let's go to live data. Ignition circuit, side airbags, window emergency retractor, so you can tells you resistance in ohms. Okay, let's go back. Side airbags, same thing. Window airbags. Values. Emergency tension retractor. That's on the seat belts. Oh, it goes really in depth. And then seat belt buckles. Yep, they're not buckled. I'm not buckled at the moment, so don't expect them to be on. Operating hours counter. Well, that's a lot of freaking hours. Vehicle's got 180,000 miles, which is about 300,000 kilometers. Active tests. Well, I'm not exactly sure about that, so I'm not going to mess with it. Model year 2008. Okay. And the actuation is not possible, blah blah blah. Okay. Instrument cluster. And when it does the instrument cluster thing, I'll show you it starts doing stuff to the cluster itself. data. Okay, reading odometer. Okay, that was off of my zoom. There we go. Tank capacity. There we go. Hour and minutes clock. Okay, and you can do graphs. So many of these you can do graphs. You just need to pick what you want to pick. Let's say tank capacity, and okay, he keeps graphing. Really depends on what you're looking for. You can do vehicle speed. Of course, we're stationary. Okay, back. Active tests for the cluster. Actuation of instrument pointer up to the maximum position. I'm not sure if this engine is supposed to be on or off. I think it would be safer if it's just on. So here we go. Ignition is on. So let's click on that. And now it has the command push number 3 for the instrument pointer and 12 for the stop actuation. So here is the instrument cluster, and I'm going to push number 3. Okay, it's doing the sweep. There we go. So that's that. I'm going to exit that. Actually, light warning buzzer. Actuate the light warning buzzer. Again, 3 to actuate, 12 to stop. Here's 3. No, that's what it is. Yep, it's working. 12 to be off. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Display test images on the LCD screen. Okay, let's see what that does. Oh, here we go. Vertical streaks, horizontal streaks, white test image. Okay, so you see all those, and then the numbers on the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna start playing with that. I haven't been this far, so let's see what it does. Oh, here we go. Vertical. 4 is vertical straight. 3 was slanted. I really don't see the slant, but okay, these are supposedly straight. I don't see the difference, honestly. This is horizontal, slanted. I don't see what is slanted. Nothing is slanted if you ask me, but that's okay. 6 is straight. I guess it's just going where they were. It just moves the pixels up or down, which one it illuminates. This is all white, and then 12 is stop. There we go. So that's your display. Actually, when I got this card, the display, LCD display, was messed up, and I was able to buy another cluster and take them apart and switch the actual LCD display screen within the cluster. This way I did not have to do any coding by replacing the whole cluster. So we've done that. Bulb test. I guess bulb test is the illumination, I'm assuming. It's daytime, I can't see much. Okay, get out of there. Control module reset. I don't know why would I reset it, so I'm not going to do that. I don't want it to blank out a whole bunch of stuff that I need to reset again all over the place, so I'm going to skip that. So that's your cluster. And then tire pressures, live data. It's got a whole bunch of identifying of the wheel electronics, so you can program them. I'm going to try breezing through this because this video is getting way too long. Set values 33, message memory. It goes by each wheel sensor individually, temperatures and everything. And you can check the battery level. Kilometers and miles and for each sensor. So that's that. We've got active tests. Each individual sensor I can test it. I'm not going to go through it. Central gateway. Man, I'm already 41 minutes into this thing, so it's got to read the codes. Electronic ignition switch, that's a big one. Live data. Drive authorization, vehicle identification, door contact. Okay. Terminal 15. Okay, I'm not going to mess with all these. I'm just going to show what it can do. Intelligent servo module. Live data. This is for the manual pedal shifter, among other things. I mean, calibration. Active tests. Actuation of motor in a position. Park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Charging of spring accumulator. Okay, there's a whole bunch of tests which I'm not going to run because I don't want to mess with this thing too much. Suspension. Suspension is big for airmatic. You can do read codes. You can do live data and lock position, stuff like that. You can turn it on and off. Active tests. You know, if you're changing the shock, the airbag on the back, or you know, the whole shock on the front, you can release the air so you can move it and then you can refill it. Then you have on the bottom, you have automatic calibration level. I tried doing it, it just takes forever, so I went manually. When you go to manual calibration, it gives you this, but this is why I'm going to show you this. So here we go. This is the approximate values right now, the way the vehicle is parked, and I'm sitting in it. And you see the numbers on the bottom. By pushing these particular numbers, it tells you exactly what they do. So each corner you can do independently, and you play with them until you get it to jive where you need to be. But here is the big thing. On these airmatic systems, it's not the height that you're measuring. You need to put the angle gauge on the lower arms on the vehicle while the vehicle is on a flat, preferably on a very flat surface. And then you're measuring the angles of the lower arms the way they are positioned, and you need to be between 4.8 to 5.6 on the front axle, or 1.2 to 1.8 negative, both on the back, and that sets the vehicle to the optimal angle. And the reason they don't do height is because different tires have different actual heights and different overall perimeter, especially if you start getting into the winter tires. So they do not go by height, they go by the angle of the lower arms. Okay, so let me get out of there. Again, whole bunch of stuff. Keyless go. Live data. Door handle trunk lid contacts, all codes, power supply, key localization. I don't even know what it means. I need to read about these before I start messing with it. What is all codes? Oh, here we go. Left hand steering, present, blah blah blah. Okay. Power supply. Yep. Tells you the voltage. Okay, get out of there. And then it's got active tests. Test the antennas. Check door handles. Keyless go localization. It's got a whole bunch of tests that you can do if you have issues. Overhead control panel, weight sensing system. That's a good one if you're loaded up on the back. Live data, not assigned. Seat occupant recognition, not assigned. So it does that. Upper control panel. Okay, front SAM. That's a big one, because typically they pick up humidity from the battery tray location, and they oxidize, and then they start throwing codes and have issues. So here we go. Exterior lighting, interior lighting, front seat heater, onboard electrical system, interior lighting, footwell illumination, windshield wiper situation. And none of this stuff is active, so of course it's not doing anything. I would need to turn the wipers on. Headlight washers, indicators, parking brake, and all the good stuff. I'm sorry, every time my hand goes in there it changes the focus. Rear windows, okay, that's enough of that. What do we have? Active tests. Okay, you can test the lighting, the individual terminal, and the fuse, not the fuse, the relay, central locking, additional battery. What's additional battery? Charge line to the additional battery. I'm assuming that's for the small auxiliary battery that is there to back up the big battery. It keeps everything in a memory for the car when you're changing the big battery, I'm guessing. Some of you guys are well more versed into this than I am. Cancel. I want to test the battery. Okay. What do we have? Rear SAM. That's another one that can have leaks because it's by the rear right taillight. And when the seal leaks around it, it can have the same problems that the front one does. Voltages, fuel tank sensors. That's a big one. Yeah, because it's got two sensors on both driver and a passenger side, because it's a saddleback fuel tank. It's really big if you have a problem with the valve on the high pressure crankshaft driven CP3 pump, and the Venturi effect on the driver's side is weak. You will not pull fuel from the driver's side of the saddleback, and you're going to run out of fuel. The engine's going to die with about 5 gallons left in the tank, because you cannot pull the fuel from the driver's side saddleback, because your electric pump is on the passenger side, and it can all be due to the plugged valve on the CP3 pump. It's on the bottom of the CP3 pump when it's mounted on the vehicle. It's very important where the O-ring on that valve is. If you put it too far back, then you will cut off the fuel flow, and basically inadvertently you will have no flow back to the tank and no Venturi effect, and you will be running out of fuel with about 5 gallons left. Don't ask how I found that out. I rebuilt it and I put it on the O-ring on the wrong spot, because it's got 2 grooves. So as you're taking it apart, make sure you take pictures. Okay, relays, radio signal, active tests of the rear SAM. Okay, let's go out. And then it's got door modules. Let's see something interesting here. Rear door, that's a big one. If you have the problem with the sensing strips on each side of the open tailgate, it will prevent the hatchback from closing. My daughter texting. So that's a big one. That's where you can check for the whole live data and everything, and you can also run tests. Actuation of the rear door. Denormalization, that's if you're, I'm assuming that's when you change the height of the opening if you park in a garage and you don't want your tailgate to hit your garage door. What else? Parktronic. Individual headlights. If you have the active curve like this car does, it will just move them up and down all over the place doing the whole thing. It's got CAN diagnostics, it can test itself, air conditioning, CD changer, sound, navigation, tele-aid, whole bunch of stuff. You can also print if your wireless printer is set up. You can take pictures and you can take videos of this whole thing with the unit and save them and recall them back. So that is what is available on this unit. And then for services, you go back on the home and you go to maintenance. This particular 2008 does not have the battery adaptation where you input the value for the new battery and reset the battery. Newer models do have that. Also the AdBlue and stuff. Dashboard, electronic parking brake if it's applicable. A lot of these are here but not applicable to every vehicle because not every vehicle is supporting it. Injectors, you can definitely, when you replace the injectors, you can code new ones. iCarSoft MB 2.0 can still do it, FYI. Immobilizer, I haven't messed with it. I don't know if you can program keys or not. I don't want to mess with it. Oil reset, of course. If you don't know how to do it by doing it with the dashboard buttons, you can do it here. What else? Steering angle, if you're changing your steering rack, you can mess with it. Throttle, body actuations and adaptations, whole bunch of stuff. Automatic. America, Asia, Europe. See, some of them are applicable, some of them are not. So that's it. I love this unit. Again, I have nothing to do with Ucanic. I ordered the damn thing because I needed desperately more help beyond my own scanner, and I love it. I will definitely be buying this unit. So guys, if you see this video and you have different kinds of cars, brand names, models, do the same video. Show people what this can do because each one can do different things. Okay, thank you very much.